I feel like a lot of people have been talking about the Fire Emblem romances, and Kallie and I have had many conversations about the Fire Emblem romance, Fire Emblem Three Houses romance.
I'll take it away.
Yeah, this is your topic.
It's been really annoying me. I've been seeing a lot of articles about the romances and the, like this and that about the lack of queer romances. And I understand, like, obviously, I think if you're going to have a bunch of characters, it makes sense for some of them to be queer. It's like I want more representation, of course, but I think it's not a good argument because the game doesn't really have romances. It only has the hint of romances. And so I tweeted about this a little bit. I think if you're going to have that hint of marriage, you either have every character be available, like every character be bi essentially,
right, or
you have some characters that are dedicated gay characters, but Fire Emblem has a couple of queer options that are also available to the opposite gender.
Or just like not do them, just not have any romance at all, especially in the context of Fire Emblem Three Houses.
You're a teacher.
It felt, you're a teacher, and like it felt so, I don't want to say an afterthought, but it just felt kind of tacked on.
So how does it work actually?
So yeah, I mean, so there's been such a conversation about this, and it's not even, it's
like out of the probably 300 scenes in that game, there's probably like 10 that have to do with romance, and they're so awkward. So the way it works is the reason people are talking about it at all is because in previous Fire Emblem games, if you reached S rank, that was like the romance level, support level, right?
I was gonna
S for sex, right?
I was gonna say sex rank. Yeah,
the sex rank. I got you. If you don't want to say it, I will. So I think coming off of previous Fire Emblem games, specifically Awakening and Fates, you look at that and you say, okay, I can only get S rank with these girls as the female professor, which means those are the queer girls. And like, yes, when I started playing the game, I was a little disappointed because I was like, I don't have any. I played as the Blue Lions. There weren't any. The only queer option, the Blue Lions for girls, is Mercedes. She's like a Onesan figure, very matronly, and I was like, I'm not gonna. No. So I was initially kind of disappointed. So I get the disappointment, but when you get to the end of the game, basically, and this isn't even a spoiler because like it's such a minor thing. There are so many other like rich story beats in this game. You basically choose somebody. There's one guy that asks you if you could maybe marry someone. Who would it be? And you pick from a list, and then you get one scene from that, and it's not even, it's just kind of this like, what if we got married? It's like the meme that's like, what if we were both girls and we kissed in eclairs or whatever? It's like that. And then at the end of the game, you have an option to pick from a list of people in your house who are options to your character. And then you get another one scene.
Okay.
So it's not romance.
Yeah, it's not like Persona levels or previous Fire Emblem games. And I think, I imagine all the comparisons to Persona 5 probably also didn't do it any favors too. I think a lot of people were expecting like, oh, it's a Persona game, and it's an anime Persona like Persona style game. There's got to be romances, especially coming off Fire Emblem. The other Fire Emblem games, you'd expect like there'd be something there.
Awakening is so romance focused.
Awakening and Fates, as you said, mostly like Birthright. But this is, it's pretty absent, and thankfully it is, because I always thought that stuff was like fun in older Fire Emblem games. Like it was fun matchmaking, and especially in Awakening, how you'd matchmake and then time travel bullshit would happen, and then they'd have a kid all of a sudden that was in your army too. Mm-hmm. And that was always fun, but the actual like romance part was really bad. Like it was just like, all right, they paired up, they had a conversation, like you weren't really in it for, I don't know, to see their relationship. It was just like, I want a new character and I like them together.
Yeah. The thing that bothers me, and normally I don't do this. Normally I'm not like gatekeepy like this, but all of the discussion I've seen on the queer romances in Fire Emblem are coming from people who haven't finished the game. And I know it's a long game, and I get it, and normally I don't do this, but like this, it's really misrepresenting what's in this game. When you haven't finished it yet and you look at the thing, you look at a menu, it says S rank and you make a conclusion, which is, I did that while I was playing, but I played it before I had an embargo, so I didn't say anything. And then I finished the game and I was like, oh, never mind.
Right.
So I've just been really frustrated. I think the game is better for not having romance. It would be fun to match make the students. I'm really glad I'm not having extensive romances with my students, even though there is a time skip. Like, that's weird.
It's not good.
It's a little bit of a.
Some of them are pretty old though. Like some of the students.
Yeah, there's like 20-year-olds.
Isn't like Dedue like
half your age plus 7?
24 or something
Well,
like
aren't
that?
you like the same age as the students?
Your age is ambiguous.
Yeah, but I remember at the beginning they were like, oh, you're like around our age, and I was like, oh, okay,
The
all
age
right.
is not the concern for me. It's
Sure.
It's the power dynamic. But
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
yeah, I think the game could have done away with S rank entirely, or had S rank level conversations that weren't romantic with characters. But as it stands, it's just like such a non thing.
Yeah, I mean, in general in games, I've always found it kind of weird how like romance is supposed to be the ideal like top reward
Achievements for them.
for like hanging like it. On the one hand, like with Mass Effect, I like that. I think they got better about it over time, but I go back and forth on it where like I hated that there were some characters that if you didn't pursue the romance option, their dialogue was like severely limited. You'd only have like you'd have like like their dialogue would be like cut in half in terms of like actually getting to learn about them more as a character. And I think they got like better about that over time where they would like have more routes for like, you know, platonic relationship versus romance. But just the idea of a game being like your reward for hanging out with this person is a romance is like, it doesn't have to be that all the time.
Yeah.
And like nothing about Fire Emblem to me feels like I need to romance these characters. Like I'd rather just get to know them and be like good friends with them.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are flirty, and that largely depends on their personality. You can have tea parties, which is the most anime thing in the game.
It's also very awkward too.
You can have tea parties with anybody. Like
the best is Felix. You take Felix and he's like, why am I here?
yeah. Yeah. I just like, I'd rather they had queer relationships among the student, like if like, because there's some students that flirt with each other, right? And there's like little like scenes with them.
Yeah.
If they, the thing that bothers me is when relationship options are bi by default, but the characters are only gay if they're with you. You know what I mean? So like if you're female,
Right.
if you're a female character and the female romance options are only queer just because they're dating you, I don't think that's like good writing. But the other thing is, this isn't an excuse, but this is a Japanese game, and I think Japanese games are going to be a little bit behind where we might want them to be in terms of these things. Not that Japan is like super not progressive, but especially with like male-male relationships, that's a dicey thing. I think it can be complicated. And I think to like criticize it outright, especially when it's not even a thing, is just like making too much out of it.